because this is a place where Hollywood is meeting education. Now, you guys are here at the very beginning of this entire journey today, and throughout the day, this entire room is going to be filled. We have over 200 people signed up and registered to come, and so they can come at any time during this day, but you're here at the best time. You're here at the opening time. So we want to, first of all, recognize that we are important individuals. So this is kind of how we need to start. Everybody, let's just close your eyes and know that this is an important moment in time to be an educator. In fact, repeat after me. Say, I am an educator.
I am an educator.
I pursue partnerships.
I pursue partnerships.
I release my passion.
I release my passion.
And I am a winner.
I am a winner.
Now, you didn't sound like one. But I'm going to tell you right now, our young people are expecting us to come into classrooms and to come in these school buildings and to make changes every single day with passion. And there is no better time, I think, to be an educator than right now, because it is not the same as it was 20 years ago. Am I the oldest person in the room? Listen, when you were my age, you would come into a classroom and you would just sit down and you would be quiet and you would learn. How many of you remember that? Okay. You didn't have a phone. In fact, I just found out on the news this morning that Americans usually look at their phone 52 times a day. So put away your phones. Let's kind of be present today. Let's not allow it to distract us, because what you've done is invest in yourself. You could have been at a school today, you could have been walking your classrooms today, you could have been teaching your class today, but I'm gonna let you know something. There's part of education is when you put some skin in the game and you say, I'm gonna come and be the best I can be so I can pour into those who I am working with. How many of you call students scholars, by the way? Okay, so let me just share a little bit about myself really quickly. I'm Dr. Jackie, and I have been in your shoes, and I will continue to stay in your shoes as an educator. I was a principal for 18 years. Before that, I was a special education teacher. After that, I illegally went and interviewed for a job and became a curriculum specialist. Do not tell anyone, but I did do that. Sometimes you have to just take off work and go interview for something else that you feel you know you need to be. And I said, I know I can be a curriculum specialist. And then that night I had to actually go and learn what curriculum was. After I did that, I just got better. Sometimes you gotta jump right in, right? And I found out as being an educator that there was more out there for our scholars than just what we were able to provide. I was in a very tough community. How many of you are in a Title I district, for example? Okay. You're working in some communities that some people just could not survive in. But our scholars there, and that's why I call them scholars, because I believe if you speak to them and you speak life into them, they will rise to that occasion that we call them to be. And so when I was working in a few of these districts that I call kind of challenging, I knew that we needed community partners. And I knew, how many of you know we can't do this work by ourselves? We just can't. It's too hard. It is just too hard. We need some community partners that are going to help celebrate our youth and help us with resources. And so I started reaching out, and do you not know, in the beginning, I was kind of like really bad, so I had like 1 or 2, and then I went back to 0 because those 2 left. And then I looked up and I just continued reaching out and calling businesses and corporations and mom and pop shops and 7-Elevens and Targets. And then I started reaching out to big companies like the William Morris Endeavor Talent Agency. And then I called Sony and Grammy. And I found out all these people really love what we do. And I looked up and I had over 300 community partners. And they all helped me to make an impact in students' lives. And then we did a whole television show when we went around the country called School Pride. You might have heard about it. I don't know if you did. Did you hear about Extreme Home Makeover? You know about that show? Okay, same producers, and we went around the country and remodeled schools free of cost. No cost to school districts. Making changes for schools and just doing big reveals of schools. And so I know it works. And this couldn't have happened today without a partnership. And that partner is Victor Harwood. And then we have some partners who are here today who are great speakers. They are doing great things. I hope they reveal to you some events and activities that they are doing that you might not have heard of. Today we're going to be talking about We Teacher. That is the opening of this. So I congratulate you for being here, because a lot of people, as I said, are fighting traffic, or they're saying, I'm going to come later. And so we know that usually those who come in the beginning really are hungry. So I hope you take this time to develop partners, meet other people you don't know, sit with someone that you do not know, and develop new relationships. And so we have an individual who's going to come up and moderate this first panel. His name is Adam Parker Goldberg, and he wears shorts. Have you seen him? He has on shorts, and he wears shorts. So we met in Canada, and I was like, what you got shorts on for? And he's like, this is what I do. And so he's a part of Microsoft. How many of you know Microsoft? Woo! We got Sonia De La Pos from Microsoft. Let's give her a hand. And I am so excited because we also have We Teacher. We have We. How many of you heard of We Charity? Okay, we got to do better than that. Like, just like pretend we heard of it. Come on. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Sarah Zerbucken. Yeah. Did I get it right?
You did.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's all the phonics and phonemic awareness that is coming into play. She's our National Market Director for We Schools. I love We Schools. I love Scholastic. And I love also Microsoft. And I love Adam Goldberg. So let's give him a big hand. Here he comes. Can we switch? Do we need to switch names? Okay. This is already your name. Okay. We'll just pretend. Okay.
Lovely. Well, hello, everyone, and thank you, Dr. J, for that glowing introduction. It's super exciting for me to be here. I work on a team called Flipgrid at Microsoft. Kind of long story short of Flipgrid. Flipgrid is a video discussion platform. We were a startup for about 3 years, and then this past summer, 2018, we were acquired by Microsoft. And Flipgrid's mission so beautifully aligns with everything that Dr. Day stands for and does. It is to empower every individual to share their voice and respect the diverse voices of others. And it also just pairs so nicely with Microsoft to empower every person on the planet, along with We Schools to enable service learning, and not just equipped students with, I was thinking about this last night, that what's so wonderful about We Schools, and we'll get into a little bit more of what that looks like, is that it's not just about volunteering and adding a few hours here and there on top of your curriculum, but really making it a part of who you are as an individual, to be an individual that participates within the community and is an active participant in understanding what that service learning does and means, and how that can not just help others but help yourself. So to start, I wonder if we can kick it off by, do you each want to just say a little bit about yourself and also talk about, well, so Dr. J talked to her, but share a little bit about, your organization.
So my name is Sonia De La Pos. I have been at Microsoft for 5 years, and I manage all of our teacher engagement programs, which I have the best job in the world. Yes. Before Microsoft, I spent 21 years in public education, which is my passion. I worked in 3 different school districts as a teacher, as a professional development specialist, as an assistant principal, and finally a technology coordinator. And the scholars that come to us with all of those other issues going on in their life are, when I was an assistant principal, there was probably 5 kids a day I want to just take home with me and love to death. So I feel really lucky and grateful that I get to come work now at Microsoft, whose mission is to empower each student and each teacher to achieve their best, to achieve more. And with my role at Microsoft, it is to empower teachers to try new ways of teaching, to innovate in the classroom, to empower student voice. I was really thrilled when Flipgrid joined us a couple of years ago, because like I said, it's about helping students hear themselves, helping students grow in confidence, helping students see what they can become. And the teacher is the #1 most important thing. And I always tell every teacher, your first job as a teacher is to love those students, especially the ones that make it really hard to love. They need, whatever they're doing, you just have to let it go, and you have to love them, and you have to help them do better. So at Microsoft, we're going to talk a little bit today about the various things that I'm really excited about that we're doing to help students access content and learning. Because as you know, so many students come to us all over the spectrum on their ability to read. And if they can't read, that's the biggest barrier, I think, to succeeding in school. And so we're going to talk about a little bit about that. I also manage our partnership with we.org, which is a fantastic service learning organization that, again, brings the service learning into the curriculum and makes it a part of the classroom. So much research shows that when students are giving to others and incorporating service learning on a regular basis, their social emotional learning, and it really grows their social emotional capabilities as well, which is another thing we're looking at Microsoft too, is the importance of social emotional learning. So I'm going to stop there and pass it on to Sarah.
Okay, thanks, Sonia. Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Sarah Zerbukin. I'm the director for We Schools. So I work with all of our We Schools in the western part of the U.S., so any schools that are engaged with us west of Colorado, and then I also oversee the Western Canada market. So I live in Vancouver, but lived in Los Angeles for about 11 years, so always feels good to come back. So my role is basically, I work with all of our program managers. We have about 6 program managers who work with about 4,500 teachers in Western US and Western Canada. And so we provide one-to-one support for all of our educators who are involved in our We Schools program. So that could be anything in terms of leadership development opportunities, speaking opportunities, helping educators understand all of the resources that we have to offer. And the We Schools program, we've talked about We Schools and we've talked about We Teachers just really briefly, but the We Schools program is an experiential service learning program. It's absolutely free. So We Schools is free, We Teachers, which we'll talk about, is also free. And in fact, when we look at states like California, we know that about 85% of the schools that access our We Schools programming are Title I or Title I eligible. So we know that it's something that really folks are hungry for and looking for. So experiential service learning is really about, when we think about the pedagogy, what is it? It's really about bringing the classroom into the community, connecting with the community, and then bringing it back into the classroom. And the way that we do that through We Schools is a 4-step process. And so that 4-step process is first to help students understand what issues are they passionate about, what do they really want to take action on, and to research that. Well, why does that issue exist? Things like homelessness, bullying, mental health, those are things that are coming up time and time again that students are passionate about but want to do more but aren't quite sure what to do. And so before we go out and do that action, we want to make sure that we understand, well, why does that issue even exist in the first place? So step 1 is really to research. Step 2 is to create the action. What are you going to do? Is it advocacy? Is it social? Is it awareness raising? Is it fundraising? What is it that's going to be the change? To actually take the action. And then this is the most critical part of service learning, is that after you've gone out and done the action in the community, whether it's volunteering or whether it's a letter writing campaign or whether it's fundraising, is to come back and debrief and reflect and celebrate on what's happened. Step number 4 is often a step that I think is missed a lot when we're out doing great community service work, because it's really focused on the action. It's not focused on the investigation to begin with and the reflection, which, as Sonia mentioned, that in and of itself, service learning in and of itself, intrinsically builds well-being. Because when you're out in the community doing good for others, we know that that really helps you feel a greater sense of compassion and kindness and really altruism. So I'll leave it there.
Love it. So I think one thing that you touched on that was, like, you started to dive into, and I want to unpack a little bit more, is you talk about the value of having a community, not just within students, but also educators. And Dr. J, I remember you talked about this when we were in Canada, but if you all maybe would want to touch on the value of joining an organization, not just for what there is to offer, for the curriculum, for the product, for the platform, but also the community around that and the value of being part of We Teachers.
Thank you. So We Teachers program, how many of you have heard of that program? Okay, and by the way, I just always need to know who I'm talking to. What school districts are out here? Could you like yell it out, shout it out? Oh my gosh, severely. Oh, I love that. That's my favorite word, severe. Inglewood Unified, who else? Beverly Hills. Oh my gosh, we have, okay. What was that? Long Beach, okay. Isana Academies, all right, who else? LAUSD. LAUSD. Los Angeles, look how she said that too, Los Angeles Community College. Oh my goodness, we have the college in the house. What else? Where else? The Archer School for Girls. Awesome. Where is that located? Brentwood, okay. Anyone else? Alliance Charter. Oh, great. I love you guys. I do. I know about you guys. Okay, who else? Anyone else from outside education that's here yet? Oh, yes. Sir?
I'm sorry, I kind of missed the question.
Okay, where did you come from? I'm just kidding. What business are you coming from?
I'm a producer, and I'm working on a project that climate change curriculum.
A producer. Okay, you guys heard that? Make your move. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Higher Education Services, we are a career-focused education.
Oh,
Employer career-focused.
employer career focus. Awesome. And I think we have another school over here, sir. Truth Academy. Oh my, by Sojourner Truth? Is it wonderful? Yes. Yay, Scholastic. I love Scholastic. All right.
A+ educational safeguard consulting group, focusing on working with students and parents and communities around social emotional learning and educating teachers and officials.
Wonderful. Okay, you all give yourselves a hand for that. I'm sorry, just needed to do that. Time is flying. But I think it was important. I hope you got something from that because it's so important to know who's in the room. So let me just share quickly about We Teachers program. In fact, you can go ahead and write down weteachers.org. So weteachers.org is a free online platform for teachers, and so many still don't know it. So I am on a mission, at least for Los Angeles and Southern California, to get every single teacher to go to weteachers.org and sign up. So why would they do this? Because there are free tools and resources for various critical social issues that teachers face in the classroom every single day, like trauma, okay, poverty, youth violence, inclusion and diversity. And they are modules that have been created by the most expert individuals to put this together and have it available free of charge for teachers to download. So just FYI, the new professional development for teachers is not what used to be. So sit and get is not working. So what we used to do, you know they're not listening to us, right? Okay, because some of you, like, your minds are even away right now. So that's just the nature of the game. The new type of training is when teachers can go on their phones, Microsoft will tell you all about that, and you can totally access information at your leisure, at night, whenever you want to, and be able to talk to other peers in real time. That is where we are with technology today, and that is what We Teachers is offering. So in the month of August, Walgreens just did a wonderful thing. They stepped up their corporate responsibility, and how many of you knew that they actually paid for $500 gift cards for teachers? Did you get one? Yeah, we should give them a hand. Walgreens, that's huge. They put a lot of money into it. We had a commercial that came out. I believe, was it CBS or ABC? One of them. But I'm the ambassador of that program for this state. And I am excited because this is something that teachers have needed. How many of you know, we just don't come out of college knowing this stuff. You have to continuously be trained, and we have less and less counselors, we have less and less nurses, we have less and less support in schools. And so teachers are parents oftentimes. How many of you know that? Your sisters, your brothers, your uncles, you are counselors, you're therapists, you know, you're just everything. And so, but yet you don't have that, we don't always have all of that expertise and knowledge. Well, this is where you can go and gather it. So tell every teacher you know to get on weteachers.org, sign up, or they can call me, I have my card, and we'll get you signed up today or any day, because they should know about it, and this is the only way they'll know about it if we share it. So I'm a big advocate for it because we're learning. So I would like Oh, can I be the meeting moderator right now? Okay, I'm sorry, I just turned into your job. Okay,
I don't
okay,
even know why she hired Adam.
Sonia Delafosse, go into that, about that.
So the other thing that I know to be true, and this is one of the reasons I love my job at Microsoft, is teaching can feel very lonely, even though you're in a school with a bunch of other teachers. You're like, I remember being in my classroom, and maybe the one time I get to interact with other adults during the day was at lunch, in which half the time my colleagues would be complaining about everything under the sun and kind of dragging me down, or there'd be staff meetings. And it was when I found actually Microsoft's teacher community in 2010 that I discovered a huge community of passionate, innovative teachers that were positive, that were forward-thinking, that were willing to try anything to make it work with kids. And I suddenly built my network to the US and even beyond. And that's one of the things I'm super passionate about with my job is I manage this community of, we have almost 10,000 teachers in my MIE, Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert Group. But it's not just about like that you're in this fancy club. It's about the connections. So we use Facebook, we use social media to have dialogue. The reason we fell in love with We was that it's all about the service learning, and that's another community of teachers, and the We community of teachers really matched beautifully with the Microsoft community of teachers. And I always think like our Microsoft educator programs and We schools are better together. And it's having a bunch of cheerleaders behind you every day when you're teaching and helping you do what's right for kids. And I think that's the thing I find so beautiful in the We curriculum. That's really good curriculum, by the way. And Microsoft partnered with We to, how many of you guys use Onenote at all? Nobody? Come on, there's LA Unified here. I know you guys have Onenote. Anyway, Onenote changed my life. This sounds ridiculous. It's a piece of software that's part of the Office suite. I was that student who was paper disabled, I would say. If you hand me a business card, it will be gone in like 5 minutes. I was that kid that my mom would carefully like get all my papers together, and by third period, God knows where my homework went. So I didn't get straight A's, not because I didn't learn the content, it was because of my organization abilities. And having a digital environment helped me get organized. And OneNote, when I found it in 2007, was that thing that helped me stay really organized. And so at Microsoft, we've built out OneNote to really be an amazing classroom tool. So we have a thing called OneNote Class Notebooks that allows you to distribute content digitally to your students. And if you think of like a 3-ring binder, but you think of it online, where you could actually see your students' real work, real time. Imagine coming to school in the morning and opening the digital notebook and already seeing the work that they've done for if they had homework, like before they even get to school. So that's where OneNote, and so we worked with We to build the We Schools curriculum in that same digital environment to help facilitate the organization. I do remember when I was a teacher, I had bookshelves filled with my 3-ring binders of all the curriculum and content, and so getting to turn that into a digital space has been really lovely and unique and helped with my content. So anyway, so it's about community, it's about having a team of people and then having the right digital tools available so that you can spend more time with the students and less time doing the organization. And I don't know if you want to talk about the We teachers community and the things you see them doing.
Sure. So We Schools really is the entity of it is that it's almost like an umbrella organization where there's several different programs within it. And so We Teachers is one program of many underneath the We Schools umbrella. And so the reason that the We Teachers program was even developed in the first place is because at the end of every academic year, we survey all of the educators who are part of our program to ask them what worked, what didn't work, what actions did you take, what do your students care about, what do you care about, and what's missing? What do you need more of? And for the past 2 years, the #1 piece of feedback when we said, what do you need more of, was we want more resources, we want more training, we want more support when it comes to social and emotional learning, and even more important, how do we respond to really critical social issues? So how do we, if there's a shooting in our school or in our community, show up the next day in our classroom and help to support the kids within our classroom and the overall school community. And so within that, the We Teachers program was built. So there's 4 aspects of it. There's online training, there's the online community that Sonia was talking about, which we know is so critical. There are two different incredible resources that are currently available through We Teachers, and I have hard copies of them if you'd like to see them after. But the first is a foundational module that's really focused on trauma-informed classrooms. And so that means it describes what is trauma, what do you do if you suspect a student is experiencing trauma, what questions do you ask, how do you navigate that? And then also, just importantly, from the educator's perspective, we know that stress and fatigue and compassion fatigue is real in this field. We know it's real. So there's also information about how do you take care of yourselves? What type of resources are out there for you that are free and that are easy and that are accessible? And so that is another free component of this program. And then the final component of our program, which we just are so excited about, is our We Teachers Award, which is this $500 gift card to Walgreens. And it's through a nomination process. So if you are an educator, you can nominate yourself, you can nominate a fellow educator. If you're not an educator, nominate an educator, because we know that these gift cards, the amount of nominations we've received thus far and what some of the stories that we're hearing of what's been happening in classrooms and how educators really need some more resources to make a difference, especially when we know that educators on average spend more than $500 of their own money every year on school resources for their classroom. We know these gift cards are a game changer.
Okay, and so before you say that, by the way, everyone, everything that's going to be told to you today is free.
Yeah.
Okay, because we know you have no money. So.
Well, so free. I just want to echo that. And I think the other thing that we're building on is it's not just about community among your students and among fellow educators, but really, as Dr. J talked about, Dr. Jackie. What do you prefer?
I don't know. Call me whatever. Dr. Jackie, that's the new name I keep changing.
Now we're on to Dr. Jackie.
Yeah.
But what she talked about is the sense of community, and not just among fellow educators, but with one another. And I think what's so cool about all of us on this panel and what Sonia was talking about is we love working with We Schools as Microsoft, because we've onboarded We Schools curriculum into Onenote. And likewise, we're, as Flipgrid within Microsoft, bringing We curriculum into Flipgrid. And so it's all these tools that we're listening not just to one another and thinking of how we can work with one another, but listening to all of you and listening for your feedback to build out the programs and figure out what we can do to better enable you to empower your scholars. And so with that, free,
Yeah.
with free in mind, Sonia has some stuff. Do you want to just jump into it?
So how many of you guys have students in your classroom that struggle with reading? Anyone? Yeah. Right? Even high schoolers, there's high school students that are still at that first grade reading ability. And, you know, these are lovely and fantastic and amazing. But if you have a student that is struggling with reading, it makes it really hard for them to access learning. So can someone do me a favor and pull the piece of tissue off of there we go. Let's see, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to show you a tool that we at Microsoft have been doing. This is a completely free tool. It's built into free Office 365. So if you guys have Word online, PowerPoint online, what most people don't realize is Microsoft Office 365, this is Word. It looks like regular Word, but this is just a web browser. And in our View tool, there is, right here, I'm in the View menu, we have something called the Immersive Reader. And the Immersive Reader was built a few years ago in a hackathon when some researchers, dyslexic researchers, partnered with our engineers to say, what is it that dyslexic readers, like what's getting in their way of being able to access the text? And so they built this tool called the Immersive Reader, and now it's actually built into Flipgrid, it's built into PowerPoint, it's built into Outlook, and it's even built into a lot of partner content as well. So the beautiful thing is it's in the hand of the student. So if I'm a student and I'm on my Word document, I can click Immersive Reader, and it goes into this very different look that removes distractions. As a student, let's say I can't even read.
The study of Earth's landforms is called physical geography.
It will read for you. So if you have students that can't even read, but you have text, you can get it into Word or OneNote or PowerPoint, and now the students can have it read for them. As a
Physical
student,
geography.
I also can go in, and this was all through dyslexic researchers. I can adjust my text size. I can increase or decrease the spacing. These fonts were actually designed. The reason Comic Sans teachers hate it, but kids that struggle with reading, it works really well because it's very similar to the handwriting that they see on a whiteboard when a teacher's first teaching them how to read. And if they have if they can read better with white on black or whatever, they have that as well. Grammar options. Let's say syllabizing is also really good, so it'll break things into syllables for the kids. Let's say you're working on parts of speech. I can highlight the nouns, I can highlight the verbs, but what if I am colorblind? Don't worry, we've got labels. Wow. Let's say I don't like purple, that's okay, you can change the color yourself. So it's all meant to be in the hands of the learners to adjust. And then the last piece is line focus. I can go to one line. Oh, I think it's because I'm on increased spacing. I can go to 3 lines. Wow. I can turn on Picture Dictionary, which is, if I click a word, I get a little picture. And I can even hear that. And then the best thing, how many of you have
Earths.
students that English is not their first language? I sure did, every year. So what's amazing is it also translates. So let's say you have a student that just got here from Mexico. You can actually go into, look at all these different languages. I'm going to go ahead to Mexican Spanish, and I can either translate by word.
Las formas. Tierra.
Or I can actually translate the entire document, and now your students that speak 0 English, if you can get the text into Word or OneNote, and by the way, there's a free app called Office Lens for a phone. Office Lens, look it up. If you snap a picture using Office Lens, you can send it right into OneNote. Or if students have the Office Lens app, they can snap a picture and they get the Immersive Reader built in. So suddenly students now are able to access content and learning, and so when we partnered with to have the curriculum available digitally, Immersive Reader is now part of a tool that's available to the students for accessing the content. And as you can see, it translates into tons of different languages, and will even read really well in many of them.
El estudio de las formas terrestres de la Tierra se llama geografía.
In the correct pronunciation, it doesn't sound like
Like me.
like it used to. So AI has done wonders for things like this. So it also, by the way, exists in, let's see if I can find the right one, Edge. So this is our Edge browser. And in our Edge browser, there's actually something called Reading View. So I can actually really remove a bunch of distractions. And in our Edge browser, I'll go back, there's actually Read Aloud is built in.
Student News Daily. ARC.
So if you use the Edge browser and your students use the Edge browser, they can actually, there's built-in Read Aloud built into that as well. And the last thing I just wanted to share with you here is this website that, there's me, and Mike Tholfsen, he's the engineer that was in charge of actually getting the Immersive Reader created years ago. We decided, I did this up in Canada, where I met Jackie, and I had all the teachers coming up to me going, how do I get Immersive Reader? And I realized I couldn't just hand them something to say, here is all the research. So I went home from Canada, and Mike and I banged this out in like 3 hours. And so I'm going to put up this, take a picture of that, aka.ms/allaboutImmersive Reader. and that will take you to that page. You guys all grab that? I know. Okay, so I'm going to show you this page really fast. So this is a 15-minute demo. So what I just showed you was just a little smidge. This is me and Mike really digging into all the pieces of Immersive Reader. It actually even reads math. I was a math teacher. It reads like equations and other things as well. If you want to get this as a PDF, this whole page is as a PDF, so if your people like to have something printed, there it is printed. Also, this is a great interactive demo where it says try this out yourself. So if you don't have Office 365 for education, it's built into the education version of Office 365, there's an interactive demo you can try out. It explains what it all does. It explains where it's available. It's in tons of tools, and in fact, tons of our partners, Canvas, I believe, if you have the LMS Canvas, I think just added Immersive Reader as part of the Canvas LMS. So a lot of our other partners now are starting to include Immersive Reader because we're giving it away to anybody because we know that it's really important that students have a way to access content. Here's all the resources. We have a free course on dyslexia awareness that we also partnership with the organization Made by Dyslexia. And case studies and examples. So if you want to have the research behind why this is good, that's on this page as well. So I wanted to show you that. And all of this lives in a free site that we've been working on for the last 5 years called the Microsoft Educator Center. It's hundreds of hours of free content and learning for teachers. So if you go to education.microsoft.com, 100% free. If you don't know anything about WeSchools, we have courses on how to start incorporating WeSchools into your classroom. We have courses on Immersive Reader. We have courses on using the recording in PowerPoint to do a flipped classroom, all kinds of things. So I'm going to type that up here as well. And then I'm going to shut my mouth because we are at time. It is, yeah, another big event we have. I'm going to go education.microsoft. Oops. So that's free online learning for all of you out there and all of your colleagues is education.microsoft.com. And my MIE expert community, we have a big event coming up in March called the Education Exchange. We do it in a different city every year. This year it's going to be in Sydney. The fabulous Dr. Jackie is going to be our opening keynote to inspire the teachers. Adam and the Flipgrid team will be there. And so when you go to education.microsoft.com, look for my Microsoft Innovative Educator program. It's, again, just like the WeTeacher program, a great way to get connected to teachers, not just in the US, but globally.
Thank you so much. All right, we are at time, but no one can close a room like Dr. J, so I'm going to throw it over to her. Dr. J, so this is the first session of the first day.
Right.
What can we look forward to today at Digital Hollywood? What should we be on the lookout for? What's in store?
Okay, today is a great day. Everybody look at somebody, say it's a great day. Oh my God, look around. Look how many people are still trickling in. Some of you are saying, Dr. J, it's totally too early for you to be talking that loud. So, I'm gonna break it down just a second. We are totally over time. You know, when you start talking great stuff like this, it just goes over time. So I've been, we have police in the room in the back telling me, we got to wrap it up. And she's a very nice police, but she's a police nonetheless. So what we're going to do is wrap this up. Please give everyone else besides me a big round of applause. Get to know them, get their information. Was that information not important? That was critical. Okay, so come back. All day is networking. You should have brought your cards. You should have brought your smile. Make it happen today. Okay, or come back tomorrow, or come back the next day. All right, so we have a next great presentation that is going to happen in the next 3 minutes, and it is called Social Media and Social Change, Developing Ideas and Movements for a More Just World, Exploring the Possible. So please stick around. This is going to be a day of adventure. Get ready for the ride. Thank you, everybody.